We have two other whiskies then. We have Tullamore Dew 14-year-old single malt. So what's interesting about this is it's 14 years old. Okay, that's fine. So you know what that means. The youngest whiskey in the bottle is going in a wooden cask for 14 years. What we've done here is we've put our whiskies into ex-bourbon casks for about 13 and a half years. And for the final 6 months, we break the whiskies out into 3 more casks. So we take the whiskies from the bourbon cask. We put some into a cask that previously held sherry. We put some into a cask that previously held port. And we put some into a cask that previously held Madeira. And it's called a 4-cask finish. And for any Tullamore Dew fans that were out there at one time, we did have a 10-year-old 4-cask finish. That's what started our whole relationship with 4-cask finish. And then we launched 14-year-old. It's probably 7 years ago now, we launched 14-year-old 4-cask finish. And the 4-cask finish brings the fruit and wood notes that you'd expect from a Tullamore Dew or from any single malt to a whole new level. It's pretty amazing for me. As I said, if you're tasting malts, even from Speyside in Scotland, you're going to be tasting malts that are, lots of fruit and lots of wood. If you get into the likes of Glenfiddich, Glendronach, your Glenmorangie, etc., there's always an amount of fruit and wood, sometimes floral notes in some of those as well. And here, this is reminiscent of that style of whiskey. So it's big in wood and big in fruit. Yes, it should be big in wood because it's 14 years old. And there's so much fruit in there as well. So I'm getting apples, fresh apples. I'm getting pear drop. Those in particular. Hints of orange, yes. Not so much citrus, though some people believe there's some it's lemon and lime citrus, but some people believe they get some of that out. And then lots and lots of wood. And I do then get dried fruits in this. And the dried fruits are typical of malts for some people, especially the older malts. Or for me, it's much more about fresh fruit. It's much more about fresh apples and pear drops. I mean, it's spectacular. It's a spectacular single malt. 14 years old, as I said, 4-cask finish. So it finishes its life in bourbon, sherry, port, and Madeira, having started its life in just bourbon. So I'm going to have to sip it again, just to remind myself how good it is. Yeah. That's Tullamore Dew, 14-year-old, 4-cask finish.